Today on Groundworks, I'm going to be upgrading my miter saw. Specifically, I'm going to be replacing the stock blade with a finishing blade and adding a third-party laser. Stay tuned.
To do a test cut, I'll strike a line and then place one of the saw blade teeth just to the right of that line. Doing it this way is mildly tedious, but it is reasonably accurate for regular sized pieces of wood. It's not quite so accurate for regular pieces. The end result is all chewed up with jagged edges and a non-smooth surface. And this is not as bad as it sometimes is.
There are a couple things in our way of removing the blade. The first thing that we need to worry about or care about is the actual nut that keeps this in place. We can't access that right now though. That's because this lower blade guard is here. That is held in place by this screw that needs to be loosened but not removed. This particular miter saw comes with its own wrench for removing the bolt, and it's basically here on the side and the back. The final piece that we need to know about is the spindle lock. This gets depressed and then the blade rotated until it locks into place and it won't move anymore. You need to depress this in order to loosen the nut. Before doing anything, make sure it's unplugged. Alright, move the outer blade guard up, then unscrew this lightly. Okay, forget what I said earlier about using a screwdriver. This wrench actually has the proper hex bit or Torx bit at the end. This is going to be much better. It'll fit exactly in there. And indeed, that comes off much easier. We don't want to remove it, we just want to loosen it so that this can be moved out of the way. Okay, I had to play with this a little bit, but I found the root of my problem. This isn't coming out because this little flange right here is knocking against the screw. So not only does this need to be loosened, but it needs to be loosened far enough so that this can get behind it. Alright, now there's enough room, and then this, as predicted, moves out of the way, giving us room for that. You'll know it's far enough out when this actually rests on it. Depress the spindle lock, spin this other direction until it locks. Keep it pressed down, and you notice that it won't move anymore. And now this, you normally do what? Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, or clockwise, lockwise. But these are reverse threads, left-handed ones, so they go in backwards. So now it is lefty, righty-loosey. Anyway, you want to go exact opposite of what it seems like you should do it. Spray a little WD-40 on that. And try that again. There we go. Righty-loosey in this case. Oops. Note that this actually has a washer in there. That's because this is a 5/8 inch arbor, and to get most of the blades are a 1-inch one, so they'll actually have a washer in here, that spacer to keep it in place. If your replacement blade is just a 5/8 one, then you just remove this and put it directly on there. My replacement is a 1-inch arbor, so I'm going to keep that on there. Alright, after the old blade is removed, it's time for a new one. I'm using a Diablo 12-inch 100-tooth Ultimate Flawless Finish blade. I'm hoping this will give me much finer cuts than the previous one. It is a 1-inch arbor, so we will keep that particular washer in there. I just thread it up there. Trying not to hit it too much. And then it fits over that. Now, at this point, if you were not going to be installing the laser guide like I am, you would take the old block on it, the outer arbor shield maybe, and fit it over there, noting that there is a square side and a rounded side, and then just bolt it back on. But I am doing a laser guide, which will instead fit on top of it. The laser guide is an Oshlun LG-M01 add-on. It comes with 3 batteries, but in fact, those are spares. The batteries are already in there. If you do want to replace them, these are number 1 Phillips screws. Remove them, and then the batteries are on the inside. Note that this has the same rough shape as the other arbor shield. In fact, they are very similar. They're almost exactly the same width, and that's the idea. You're going to be replacing this entirely with the laser one. So place that on there and thread this in here. And I so much want to do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but I remember I have to do it exactly opposite. So I'm going to do lefty-loosey to tighten it. So wrong feeling. Engage the arbor lock. Then finally, all I need to do is retighten this down a little bit, or excuse me, first move this down. Alright, what finally works is just grab it with these pliers here, put a little leverage, pull down. It just needs to go far enough to go past that screw, which we then tighten down. There we go.
To test again, I struck a line at exactly 17 inches. The laser doesn't turn on until the blade is spinning. In this test, I'm lining up the laser just to the left of the line. That ain't right. The piece is maybe a 1/32 to 1/16 shy of 17 inches. For my second try, I line up the laser directly on top of the cut line. And that's a lot better. Now it's spot on accurate. Here's another test piece showing the accuracy. And the only way I could get a cleaner cut than that is to use a zero clearance insert.
Okay, this was a pretty straightforward upgrade. Well, it was after I figured out how to actually do the installation. Some of those pieces weren't very well described in the manuals and such. But yeah, once I actually figured out how to do it, yeah, it was pretty easy to do. Was it worth it? Well, I think in the case of the laser, I'm going to have to wait until I use a regular size piece, or like a non-rectangular piece, to really get the true benefit of it. As it is, if you use just one piece at a time and it's rectangular, then it's not significantly faster to use a laser than it is to just line up the tooth directly onto the line. As far as the blade goes, oh yeah, that's a night and day difference. That is worth every penny. And how easy it is to replace that, yeah, that's a no-brainer to do that. I probably will just not use the other blade unless I'm just doing some chewed up stuff and I expect it to be ruined. This particular blade, that's staying in there permanently. Well, I hope this was a useful video for you, and thanks for watching.